Well, time off is supposed to make you happier, less stressed, and to help you to return to work with more energy and with more meaning in your life. But telling you the truth, how often has that really happened? Joining us from Suffolk, Virginia with details on the new road to happiness study is author and professor of positivity, Sean Aker. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing wonderful.
Tell us about, thank you, sir, for joining us, first of all, and a beautiful fireplace, very relaxing there in the background. Wish we had our fireplace going on here in the studio. Shouldn't all vacations be fun? I mean, it should be relieving of the stress that you get from the job. And what are we doing wrong?
Well, you're so right, because we normally think vacation should make us happier, but in research that was done in the Netherlands previously, we found that the average vacation actually didn't cause people to feel happier, and they actually returned to work with less energy than when they left. So I set about to do a study of 400 travelers to find out what is it that causes people to feel greater levels of happiness. And what we found was that it wasn't the traveling that caused people to feel unhappy. It was the stress of travel. And if you could decrease the stress in almost in a scientific way, what we found was that 94% of vacations could actually raise people's levels of happiness, and that they could return to work with higher levels of energy than when they left.
Do you think that folks are going into vacation sometimes just somewhat disorganized and just going on a trip and kind of not having plans? And maybe if you have plans, it'll be a little bit less stressful?
You're absolutely right. What we found was that 28% of the unhappiest trips, people were still planning the details on the trip itself. But the 90% of the happiest trips, people had planned out the details more than a month in advance. And sometimes I'm a procrastinator and I haven't been good about that in the past, but now seeing this research, I really want to make sure that all of these travel details are planned out more than a month before the vacation. We found some other really interesting things too. We found that the further people traveled for home, from their home, the happier they were, which we found in a previous study of Twitter, that the further your posts were from your house, the happier the posts actually were. And then the most amazing one, the one that aligns so well with my research, is we found that if you know somebody in the location, a local host, a friend, somebody who's knowledgeable and that you can connect with, that we found that significantly increased people's levels of happiness on the trip. And we even found a company called Monograms, which in addition to figuring out all the travel for you, they put a local host in each of the locations so you knew somebody you could connect with and that could not only show you the area, but also that you had that social connection, which was the greatest predictor of happiness we saw on these trips.
And you think a lot of times that folks, when they're planning ahead, if they plan like you're saying, like a month in advance, you're sort of relieving a lot of that stress. I think also checking off a number of boxes to fulfill a lot going into the vacation. And what about these staycations? So many people right here in the Low Country, because it's so doggone beautiful, they stay here all the time.
Yeah, it sometimes seems easier to do a staycation, but it turns out that we found 94% of the trips that people took away from home, that they felt higher levels of happiness and meaning within their lives. So if you want to find out a way to create that meaningful travel away from home, there's a fantastic website, travelinghappy.com, which is a great place to get all that research. And I have to run off to another interview, but thank you so much for letting me share this research, and I hope some people can take some happy vacations.